higher margins with importing. Often you do, but if you run out of money and you can no longer import any more items, then your business has hit the glass ceiling. You can't get any more. Whereas dropshipping, you can just keep listing more items, more and more and more and more. But if you've run out of money or you're not willing to invest any more money in inventory, then you can't grow your business anymore with importing. But with dropshipping, there's no limit. So I'm not going to go in with dropshipping is a whole nighttime thing. It takes a whole night to do it. But if you want to know any more about dropshipping, there's a free workshop there. You can do it. All right. So private labeling. Does anyone here private label now? A couple of people. Awesome. So what private labeling is simply this: you put a label on a product. Now, a lot of people out there are teaching to the way you do private labeling is that you go and do all this research, find a product, go and order 1,000 of them, fill up a container, mortgage your house to pay for the container, ship it to Australia, and then pray that the thing sells. Instead of doing that, I highly recommend you consider taking a top-selling import item that you already have or a dropship item you already have, and then buy one from your local Australian supplier, peel the label off, put your own label on it, and photograph it and sell it. And if it sells well, you do it again and again and again and again until you've proved it. Then you go and buy a quantity. Now, if you really stuff up the name, just peel it off and resell it. It was already one of your hot selling items already, so you're not going to get stung. You can just sell it, and all it's going to do is cost you the cost of shipping. And it's a much better way to do private labeling. Now, with private labeling, you've got to come up with a good name, which is easy when you know how. What country is that name from? Germany. That's what most people think. Is that word in the German dictionary? No. Now, what you can do, instead of trying to come up with a name, because a name has to give two things. It's got to give the feeling of quality and trust. So whatever name you come up with, you must get it surveyed. So you get a half dozen of your family and friends and say, guys, I need your honest opinion. Does this name give the feeling of quality and trust? Yes or no? If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, change it. Now, if you can't come up with your own name that gives a feeling of quality and trust, all you do is you go and convert an Australian name or an English name to German or European. And if it's got 2 dots above one of the letters, all the better. I know this sounds stupid, it sounds great. We have split tested this over and over and over and over again, and it comes up all the time. If you get a good European name, it'll outsell things. I'm not going to go into all the tests we've done, but we've done exhaustive testing with this, and it's proved it over and over. Now, you can also go online, look up German dictionary thesauruses, Swedish, just scroll through. And the awesome thing about this, when you get a name and then you go and find if there's .com.au available for it, there normally always is. Because no one's come up with a name like that, because it's not a word. It could mean dogs. If you translate it, it might mean dog's breakfast or whatever. It doesn't matter. So there's a quick way of doing it. So that's how you get your private label. So then your private label, your top-selling proven items. So I'm just going to touch on optimisation tonight because we're running out of time. So tonight is a beginner, but I just want to give a little, because a lot of people go, well, what the hell is optimisation? And the optimisation is, this is how you take your business to the next level. This is how you get it to your 7 digits and beyond, is optimisation. Does it work? Well, this is one of the example. This is one of the people I coach. Well, as you can see here, he sold one item, just one item, 138 sold in 24 hours. And that's just one of his items. Just one item. So does optimisation work? Well, there you go. So the way to understand, and I think it's more likely the next event we'll do is optimisation, because it takes a whole night. If you understand how Cassini works, which is eBay's search engine, everything about optimisation operates under these 4 rules. There's 4 core values that drive eBay's development and tweaking of the eBay search engine, and this is it. Relevance. So when people search for something, they get a relevant answer, and that's exactly how Google succeeded, where all the other Alta Vista and Dogpile and all those other search engines failed. Because you went go to those old search engines, how often did you get the right answer? You search for something and you get something totally different, whereas you go to Google, they give you a relevant answer. So they want to give you, they want to make sure that what you've listed is in the right category, you've got the right title for it, etc. So when someone searches for it, they're getting the relevant item. If someone searches for an item, they continually see your listing, but they don't click on it, eBay Cassini, which is eBay search engine, quickly realises there's something wrong here and it'll just put your listing down. Just like with a website, if someone searches something and Google brings up a website and no one clicks on it, it's obviously irrelevant, so it'll just fall down the search results. So the first thing they want to see is relevancy. Next thing is value. Now value, it doesn't mean, like we saw on some of the other slides, you don't have to be the cheapest, but you've certainly got to be in the money. You don't want to be way off the pace, but they want to make sure that you are delivering reasonable value. It doesn't have to be the cheapest. Trust. So they want to look at, are you doing things like offering a 30-day return, compared to your competitors? Is your account in good standing? Have you been verified? Is your phone number listed in your eBay account, your PayPal account, etc.? Convenience. Where are you located? So if someone wants to buy something in, say, Melbourne, and you've got your item listed in Melbourne, and your competitor's got theirs listed in Italy, obviously your listing is going to appear way over theirs. Because eBay wants to get it to the buyer as quick as possible. So convenience. Are you offering express as well as just a standard shipping option? Do you have 1-day handling time, 2-day handling time, 3-day handling time? So eBay's looking at all these factors because they want to get the item to the customer as quick as possible. So it's weighing up all these factors to show which item goes higher than the others. So Cassini is shopper orientated. When I used to start going to originally the events, like the eBay events 20 odd years ago, everyone there went and hugged each other and cuddled each other, and it was a big happy family of eBay sellers. And then gradually that changed. eBay kind of got the impression, everyone got the impression that eBay didn't care about the sellers and they only care about buyers. And that was the case, but most people didn't realise that if we don't have buyers, then none of us can exist. So it's fine by me that they do focus on the buyers, not the sellers. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. But don't forget, eBay is a public company with shareholders, and all they really do care about is the shareholders. And that's a great thing to understand, because when eBay comes up and says these grandiose things, they're going to change this, and everyone who's got these listings that don't comply, they're going to shut them all down. No, they're not. Because eBay is not going to shut down 30% of its listings, because that means the shares will plummet, and that will never ever happen, because the whole company is driven by dividends. If the shareholders don't get their dividends because someone said they're going to shut down 30% of the eBay listings, it's never going to happen. So that was a bit of a side joke. Yep.
How relevant is the trust? I imagine comes from the buyer's feedback on your.
That's one of the factors.
How relevant is that on the
feedback
algorithm? Because you're not going to have that when you first start.
It's only, well, the Cassini has what's called a fair go policy, so anyone who's brand new gets a listed promoted high.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is that based on the keyword on some of the tools that you use, or based on the keywords that you use?
Well, with optimizations, 124 factors. Keywords are one of them. So just hang in there, we'll just get through more of it as you'll see. So let's see, what I'm going to show you now is a way to potentially increase your sales by a factor of 16. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you do this and your sales are going to multiply by 16. That's not the point. I'm just going to show you how these factors can take an unoptimized listing and increase its sales by 16. I'm not saying it's going to happen to every one of your listings. So this is called the 16 times rule. How to potentially increase sales by 16 for a non-optimised listing. The first thing is the title. The title for the newbies in the room is, the first thing you list on eBay, you've got 80 characters where you write what the thing is. eBay, PowerPoint, or Logitech, PowerPoint, presentation tool. That's your title. If you put relevant keywords in there, you get more traffic. If you leave out the word Logitech or PowerPoint, whatever, you're going to get less traffic. So it's important to put relevant keywords in there. Don't put, cheap, bargain, look at this, all the, and, or. No one searches for this stuff. You've got to put in relevant keywords. The more relevant keywords, the more traffic you get.
You can put keywords for
Sorry?
Logitech is a third party.
Yeah, because it's Logitech, so you always put the brand name in there. So your title, if you put relevant keywords in there, you can potentially get twice the traffic to your listing by putting relevant keywords in there. The next thing is your image. So on eBay you're allowed to upload 12 images. Image number 1 is called your gallery image. If you put on there in that gallery image certain aspects about the item, which I'll get to in a minute, because everyone on eBay has got certain itches they want scratched. If you can scratch those itches by putting those in the image, you can dramatically increase what's called your click-through rate, or CTR, it's known in the industry, which means people will click on your listing and go inside your listing. So what happens here, you've got twice the traffic going because of your title, twice the traffic going to your listing, so that's 2 times 2 is 4. We've now got 4 times the traffic going to your listing just by optimising these 2 elements. The next thing is your description. I talked about listing templates. Again, if you improve your listing template, make it look professional, which is just like you open up a Chinese restaurant, if you don't fit it out, you just go and get a couple of plastic tables and chairs from Bunnings and throw them in there, and you've got a concrete floor and a concrete walls, and the guy next door opens up a Chinese restaurant, spends $250,000 fitting it out, which one can you sell the most expensive food?
And there's spelling.
Sorry?
Spelling.
Spelling is a factor, yeah.
No,
but
obviously the second.
yeah, exactly, the second. So it's, you know, it's the same deal, but where it'll cost you, you know, maybe 100 grand, maybe 200 grand, maybe 300 grand to fit out a good looking restaurant, it'll cost you less than $100 to get a professional looking eBay listing template. So if you can do that, you've now got 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. You've now got 8 times the sales for that one eBay listing.
Just on the templates.
Yeah?
With, you know, you go to someone who puts out the templates, are any better than others? Do you recommend any look or feel?
There's 124 factors, so yeah, I can't go through all those tonight. We're going to have to do a whole optimisation because I've gone running out of time tonight, so I can't. Yeah, because tonight's supposed to be beginners, and I can't go through a whole. But the next one we will. We'll go through a whole advance. So now we've got 2 times 2 times is 8 times 2 is 16. Now the impression to sell ratio is a huge one. This is what turbocharges your listings, or gets them into what we call the jet stream. So what happens here is if eBay realises that for the amount of time someone does a search and sees your listing and buys it, it pushes you higher up the search results. This is exactly how places like Coles and Woolworths at the end of their aisles is the most expensive piece of real estate. That's where they put the Kit Kats and all the hot selling items, because they know every time someone walks past the end of the aisle and there's a Kit Kat there, they know X amount of people are going to reach in there and grab it. They walk past, that's an impression. Every time they stick their arm in there and grab it, is a sale. eBay works exactly the same way. If they do an impression and it gets more sales than the competitors, your listing gets put up to the top of the search results. Now it's on page 1, you get a lot more sales. And this is how you turbocharge your results. Like that, you know, well, here you got 138 sales in 24 hours. It's the same deal. You just get it up the top. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. So this here on an eBay listing is your title. Your title, if it's got 60 characters or more, you'll get 1.5 times the sales. A lot of people don't populate it. They don't put 80 characters. They only put 40. In the old days, we're allowed 55. These days, so every relevant keyword equals more traffic. But just like Google, eBay puts the most weight on the first 30 characters. For drop shipping, use the same first 30 characters. That actually should be 50. Sorry, that's an error. For drop shipping, it's 50 characters. Okay, so caps or no caps is always a question. Normally, always like this: first letter in caps. There are exceptions to the rule. If you sell, for instance, like, you know, things in the weight gain industry, they like to be yelled at. So if you sell things like protein powder, dumbbells, all that kind of stuff, caps works best. So how do you find the top keywords? There's many ways. And the first way is the eBay auto suggestion tool, which is also known as the search box. If you go to eBay, type in the word solar, it will show you all the other hot keywords that come after it. So will Google. And this is straight from the horse's mouth, of course. This is straight from eBay. So also, item specifics should be populated down here. brand name, UPC codes, etc. This is just a blow up of the item specifics. This should all be populated as well. And you're just going to be a little bit careful with item specifics, because the item specifics mean you can suddenly be competing with another seller that you do not want to compete with. Because if you're now competing, if you've got the same UPC, the same codes in your item specifics, which is this section here or here, you could be suddenly now competing with this seller, and you all of a sudden you've got 50 product ratings just like this person, because eBay realises it's exactly the same product. That may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing. Just be aware of it. So unique identifiers for SEO. SEO, for those who don't know, is search engine optimization. Use part numbers, brand names, UPCs, EANs, European article numbers, ISBNs, which is books, MPN, manufacturer's part numbers, and you add them all to the item specifics. But just be careful and think about, do I want to do this or not? So the gallery image is image 1. Like I mentioned before, you can upload 12 images to eBay. And this is image 1. If you put on here, so when people are looking on eBay to buy something, they've got itches they want scratched. If you can scratch their itches, they'll click on your listings. If they click, that's called a CTR, or click-through rate. That dramatically improves your sales, because they go into your listing, you've got a fair chance of selling them. So if you put on here these things, it's a big good thing. Now you might think, oh my God, how on earth do I do that? Well, it's actually very simple. I'll show you, it's simple in a second. Wrong slide. But first of all, before that, we get to that, you have 3 benefits of you, the seller. 3 benefits of you. So once you've chosen your name, you get a professional logo made at somewhere like $5, which costs you $5. You add your logo, which makes you look professional. You also add an Australia flag, so people realise they're getting it from you, not someone in China. You also put on something else about you. People want everything yesterday. Human beings being human beings might take 6 months to decide to buy something, but when they do decide it, they want it yesterday. So you put something that gives the feeling of speed, like it might be fast-way couriers or something like that. Anyway, add 3 benefits of you, the seller. So ask yourself, why should they buy from you? What are your top 3 answers? And, normally come up with that is you're fast, you're Australian, etc. Then ask yourself, what are the top 3 benefits of the product? What is the product? What is the itches they want scratched? And those things should be in the item. What's the top 3 benefits that are going to change that person's life when they own this item? And you put those in there. I'll give you some examples. And you convert those features using the so what principle. Like as an example of a so what principle, take a car. Let's say it's got the words MPI on the back of it. So you do some research, it stands for multi-point fuel injection. So what? So you always say so what. So whenever you're reading your own ad copy or you're reading anyone else's ad copy, you always say to yourself, so what? MPI, so what? Multi-point fuel injection, so what? Then you discover you get 25% more power and 20% better fuel economy. Okay, now you got me interested. That's what should be there. So it's converting features to benefits. So those top 3 life-changing benefits should be in your gallery for whatever you're selling. You can easily double the click-through rate for your listing by doing this. Easily double it. So some examples here. These are gallery images, as you can see here. 24mm thick foam. It's got a safety pad, the size of it. It's got a bonus hoop. This is the sort of stuff you put in there. So this is what I was saying. You probably think, well, how on earth do I do this? All you do is you use a program called Canva. It's free. And the awesome thing about it is because it's free, you can get your VAs to do it as well. If you want to know how to use Canva, it's really simple. Here's a short video for free showing how to do it. There's plenty of other videos out there how to do it. It's free. In the old days, we used to buy all our VAs licenses for Photoshop. It used to cost us a fortune. Now we don't, we just use Canva. All right, so eBay listing templates, I mentioned earlier on. This is like an example of a listing template. You can get these done from $25. You shouldn't be spending any more than $100. So eBay listing templates must be visually pleasing, must be mobile responsive. Over 70%, as in 70% of your sales are going to be coming from mobile. So it must work on a mobile device. Be very careful about finding some free templates on the internet which you can download for free, which is like 10 years old. I can guarantee you it's not mobile responsive. It must work on a 24-inch monitor and a 5.5-inch iPhone. So a visually pleasing template can multiply your sales by 2. So, and I mentioned the impression to sale ratio. I've already done that. That's how you get into the jet stream. Okay, so the next thing I want to quickly talk about, because we're running out of time, is sponsored listings. Optimisation, there's 124 things we can do to improve our sales. Like everything in life, 80-20 rule comes into play. Out of those 124 elements that we can improve, you get 80% of the result from only 20% of them. Sponsored listing is one of those ones that is a needle mover. And what sponsored listing is you pay a fee to have your listing put up higher by eBay in the search results. And that fee can vary from 1% to 20%, but you don't normally ever see them that high. So you can pay a certain amount. Now, whatever amount they show, you generally don't get billed that amount. So out of every 10 sales, they might charge you, say, 40% of those. Not for every single one. So, and that dramatically changes the maths equation on it. You only need to budget for 40 to 50%. But if you do take sponsored listings, I've seen so many times people, sales overnight increase by 30% and beyond. So it's very much, it just basically puts you out. Now, if you haven't optimised your listing, it's only you're not going to go to page 1. If you're on page 20, it won't take you to page 1. But if you're on page 3, you can get to page 1. So your first step is always optimise first, always optimise listings, and then sponsor. So sponsored my listings, there's a link here to show us about how to do the sponsored listings. If you want to do it, highly recommend it. Done that, and the great thing about it, unlike Google advertising, etc., you only get billed when it sells. If it doesn't sell, you pay nothing. So if the item doesn't sell, you pay zero. There's not much other advertising on the planet that's like that. Most advertising on the planet, you pay irrespective of whether it sells or not. So yeah, eBay will normally only charge you around 40% of your sales. So a summary of how to build $1 million plus business is research products list, optimise, tune, automate, and then repeat. So just before we wrap it up, just take a few questions because we are running out of time. If anyone's got some questions, yep. Just a second.
How do you find local dropshipping vendors?
Go to that Neil Waterhouse /drop. There's a whole course on how to find suppliers. Yeah, there's that link I had, which is Neil Waterhouse /drop, DROP, and it's all on there. Well, good.
To summarize, basically, from the presentation, you're saying that dropshipping is actually the best, in comparison to...
For me, but everyone's different. I've been importing as well for 30 years, so it's just, yeah, so I think it is, but some people like used products.
You won't do on your website? Would you?
Oh yeah, totally, 100%. Yeah. Do it on eBay and Amazon and Amazon. All right, I'm being signaled for the back, so we're going to have to wrap it up. So, unfortunately, we're running out of time. So, I've gone through a lot of stuff tonight, but it is all about baby steps. So, just one little step at a time gets you there, and it really is all about baby steps. And of course, version 1 is better than version none, because a lot of people get hung up about. One of my coaches, Dan Sullivan, he told me a long time ago that 80% good enough is good enough. If you do 80%, you can 10x your business. So if you're a procrastinator, which I can be, 80% is good enough. So, and like I mentioned before, to win the game, you just need to stay in the game long enough to win the game. So thank you guys, you've been awesome tonight. I hope you got a lot out of this, and here's a link to download the slides, and thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.